This winter storm warning could have big impacts on tomorrow evening's commute. I'm tracking the potential for messy roads and power outages. Futurecast shows where the heaviest ice and snow could fall.
Then Wake County schools dismissing early ahead of the winter weather. We look into the process of making that call and how parents feel about the decision.
Painful and concerning how one parent is reacting to the news that her students' information may be at risk after a data breach.
We are just about 24 hours away from a major winter storm on our doorstep. Tomorrow and Saturday are WRAL weather alert days. This is a live look at the radar. Watch the map here. You can see the storm currently over Texas and Oklahoma. Governor Josh Stein has just declared a state of emergency for North Carolina. Thanks for being with us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Schools are responding as well. They're going to be releasing early tomorrow. We know Wake County schools, students are going to be going home about 3 hours early tomorrow. We've learned in the past 20 minutes that Durham schools, they've called it for tomorrow. They've canceled school altogether. And that's where we stand because of this weather coming in. Meteorologist Kat Campbell has been watching it closely.
Yes, and the big changes that we've seen today is that the system's moving in a bit faster, and I think that's why a lot of schools made the decision to let out early. With the snow moving in earlier, that means we're going to see a lot bigger impacts to the evening commute. What falls is going to stick initially, and the ice threat is also increasing for some of us. A winter storm warning is in effect for most of our viewing area. A tier down in severity is in effect in Cumberland, Sampson, and Wayne counties. That's where there is a winter weather advisory. So what do these things mean? Let's get into the specifics. Here is our WRAL snow forecast. 1 to 3 inches from Raleigh points north, and south of Raleigh, it's an inch or less of snow. Here's the thing. This isn't going to be a white winter wonderland. There's going to be sleet that mixes in and some freezing rain as well. And that freezing rain threat is increasing. We're now going with the threat of up to 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain from Raleigh points south, and that could lead to some scattered power outages. So let's talk about the timing for all of this. As I mentioned, as soon as we start to see this weather move in, I think it's going to stick and the road conditions should deteriorate very quickly. So by 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock, we've got this moving into the western part of our viewing area. Even though it's green here, when you really look at the atmosphere in 3 dimensions, like meteorologist Mike Mays and myself did, I think that this is going to start as snow and sleet mixing together. Then we should get a pretty good band of snow that moves in as we head 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's after that we start to see that warm air nudge in from the south, and that's when we get the changeover to more freezing rain and sleet, and eventually potentially just rain in our southern counties. Now, this clears out very early Saturday morning. I'll walk you through what to expect into the weekend coming up.
I'm Brett Neese here in the WRAL Live Center, and as Kat just mentioned, a lot of winter weather headed our way, and that is affecting a number of school districts in our area. We're following all of these school closings and delays. We just told you a couple minutes ago, Durham is completely closed on Friday because of this winter weather. We've added a number of other schools that are either dismissing early or they're going towards remote learning, like Hoke County. They're going to remote learning. So is Moore County. Johnston County, we just learned within the last couple of hours that they are dismissing 3 hours early. So too is Wake County. We have the complete list of school closures right now on our website, WRAL.com.
Thank you for that, Brett. Yeah, Nash County, Chapel Hill, Carrboro City Schools among those that are going to be dismissing early. Cumberland County among those that are going to be going fully remote.
So we have Aaron Thomas. He is live for us tonight. We're talking about these early dismissals, or of course Durham. They're not having school at all tomorrow. It's really about safety here, Aaron.
Yeah, that's right, Dan. In fact, we spoke with some parents in the carpool line outside of Dillard Drive Elementary School behind us. You talk about early dismissals. While it means some last-minute arrangements for some of those working parents, we found several parents who said that the district made the right call. All Wake County Public School System schools will dismiss 3 hours early Friday. This district-wide notice shared with families Thursday afternoon. While today's weather made for a smooth carpool line, tomorrow's pickup process will have a different flow. DOT crews treated roads ahead of the incoming winter weather. Dismissing students early ensures buses are off the road before potential slick conditions. Some parents from Dillard Drive Elementary School say the district made the right call. How about this opposed to schools being canceled altogether? Do you have any preference?
I think this 3 hours early is better. Don't have to make it up. Get in when we can.
Now, I do want to point out that we did actually hear from several parents on our Facebook page, some saying that, having this early dismissal, it makes it a little bit hard when you have a parent who has to go to work at around maybe 8 or 9 a.m. just to come right back around at about 11 a.m. to pick up their children once again. But of course, as we all mentioned, safety first.
Yeah, it isn't easy. It is a bit of a monkey wrench. But, the district, they don't make these snap decisions. They think about this stuff. Who do they consult with when coming up with the idea for what to do?
Yeah, so earlier today I spoke with the district spokesperson who was telling us about this process, and it's really a all hands on deck collaborative effort between the transportation team. You also have the severe weather team. They go over some of the weather models as well, just determining what's safe enough. We also learned that they have some folks from their transportation team that will hit some of these roads as early as 3 in the morning to do a road assessment, test them out, see if it's safe enough for any buses to be on the roads, because the last thing you want is those large school buses carrying children to get stranded. So, if they can have school and get ahead of that storm and avoid any slick road conditions, they're going to make that call.
All right. Thank you, Aaron.
It's been 3 years nearly since Raleigh saw any measurable snow. That's the second longest snow drought in the city's history. And that's all going to come to an end this weekend for the city.
WRAL's Liz McLaughlin is explaining how climate change is reshaping our winters and making snowfall a rare event.
Raleigh hasn't seen measurable snow in 1,077 days. The last time snow blanketed the city was in January 2022, when Raleigh-Durham International Airport logged just under a ½ inch.
For every year since the 1940s, you take that number and then you go to the 30-year average and it gets lower. The 10-year average gets lower, the 5-year average even lower than that. So we're definitely seeing a pretty strong trend for less and less snow in the Triangle.
WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell says a winter storm on Friday could bring freezing temperatures and moisture at just the right time, potentially ending the snow drought.
Whatever falls is pretty much immediately going to stick, so I think Friday evening, Friday night, the roads are going to be a mess, and that'll last into Saturday morning as well.
The long-term outlook suggests events like this are becoming increasingly rare.
And we know all metrics, all seasons are warming, with winter warming the fastest. And there's a pretty direct correlation with carbon in our atmosphere and the global average temperature, both of which are rising up dramatically.
Raleigh winters are nearly 6 degrees warmer than they were in 1970. Those rising temperatures are making it harder for snow to develop in the southeast.
The coldest low temperature of the winter season in Raleigh has increased about 11.5 degrees.
For now, Triangle residents should prepare for slippery roads and icy conditions and savor what could be a rare winter moment in a warming world. Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
So we, of course, are going to be relying on some of you at home to share what you're seeing in your communities as this snow begins to fall. We want to see your snow photos, your videos. Please share them with us as this weather comes through. Let us see what you see. To just put it on the Report It section through WRAL.com and the WRAL News app, and we'll use some of your pictures to showcase kind of what's happening out there.
And do stay with us for live weather updates through the day, tomorrow, and on Saturday through WRAL News Plus, over the air channel 34, and on Spectrum channel 1257, and of course right here on WRAL. If you are just getting caught up on the news today, here are 5 things you need to know right now. 2 people are dead after a crash on Highway 421 in Harnett County. Sky 5 flew over the scene around lunchtime. Highway Patrol says one SUV hit another SUV head on. Both drivers died. Troopers say one of the drivers had been drinking and was not wearing a seatbelt. Lanes were closed for several hours as crews cleaned up the damage. Today, a funeral service was held in Greensboro for the police officer shot and killed at a Food Lion. The procession brought Officer Michael Horan's body through town. Federal, state, and local agencies were stationed along the route. The service was at Westover Church. Terrell McMillan, the man accused of shooting Officer Horan, is charged with murder. The Charlotte Hornets game against the Los Angeles Lakers is postponed because of the fires in California. They were supposed to play in L.A. tonight, but the NBA chose to reschedule. The date for the rescheduled game will be announced at a later time. State employees will likely have to pay higher health care premiums next year. Today, new North Carolina Treasurer Brad Briner said the state health plan is facing a deficit of $500 million. To make up for that, he expects all state employees to pay more in 2026. Employee salaries will determine how much more each person pays. About 740,000 people are on the state health plan. And Mebbane's mayor says Buc-ee's will open in 2027. The 34-acre site sits near I-40 near Trollingwood-Hawfields Road. Expanding the roads and exits in that area must happen first before work on Buc-ee's can begin. The town expects that to start later this year.
Coming up, parents are a little worried exactly what data was stolen when hackers got into PowerSchool. You're going to hear from one of those parents after the break.
Plus, we are following all of the destruction out west. Wildfires in California have forced tens of thousands out of their homes, including many household names, big celebrities we watch on TV every day. Our conversation with a reporter live from the area. That's next. Some North Carolina school districts are starting to notify parents that their students' data could be at risk. This all comes after we told you a hacker stole data from the student information system called PowerSchool. WRAL's Destiny Patterson talked to a parent about her concerns.
For Santina Barnes, personal information is more than just personal. She tells me a scammer took advantage of her family after her daughter passed away.
I did have a scammer go in and get her Social Security card and file taxes with it.
Now she's worried about the information that could be out there about her other two kids after PowerSchool was hacked. Schools across the state and the world use the software for attendance tracking, student transcripts, and communication to and from families.
I mean, it's a really quite painful thing to know that your kids' information is floating out there.
Wednesday, Vanessa Wren with the Department of Public Instruction told me she expects names and addresses to be the main concerns for both students and staff. PowerSchool says the hacker also stole some Social Security numbers. Now we're working to confirm if that was the case here in North Carolina.
You get the potential of identity theft where cyber criminals will open up accounts in your name.
Cliff Steinhauer with the National Cybersecurity Alliance says hackers look for targets that are easy to exploit.
This one's a little more unique where they went after a software provider, whereas in the past we've seen them go for like school districts.
At this point, districts don't know which students and staff were directly impacted by this breach. DPI and PowerSchool are still investigating that. So far, we know Durham, Orange, and Chapel Hill Carborough schools have let parents know while they investigate. Wake County has not.
The only reason I knew about the data breach is because I happened to be in the kitchen cooking and I heard your story.
A PowerSchool spokesperson told me the incident is contained and we do not anticipate the data being shared or made public.
You have to put your trust in the attackers who are going to say that they destroyed it and that they're going to abide by their word.
Now he says the potential victims need to protect themselves. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Raleigh.
So law enforcement is now looking into any potential data that was leaked onto the dark web. Over on WRAL.com, you can find our list of questions that we still have for the school district about this data breach and how the new state superintendent is saying that the incident could provoke the department's security protocols changing moving forward.
We continue to see and hear these devastating stories, the images out of California. We now know at least 5 people have died in wildfires. The video you're seeing here is from the Eaton fire. The other fire is called the Palisades fire. The flames are tearing through communities there. Nearly 180,000 people have been evacuated from their homes.
Joining us live from Pacific Palisades, California, is Lee Waldman. Lee, you have been there as the wildfires have been raging. At last check, I saw that about between 4,000 and 5,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed. I want you to give us a sense of what you're seeing, what you're witnessing out there.
Yeah, the damage here is breathtaking. People have described it as apocalyptic. Today we heard someone say it's like a bomb was dropped here in the Pacific Palisades, and you can see why. We spoke to a man who said he's called this area home for 78 years now and was telling us what this used to be. This was a pizza parlor. Next to it was the coffee shop he used to go to every single day next to that brick building. He would go there after working out at the gym down the street, the YMCA down the street, both of which completely destroyed. We asked him, sir, what is your home like right now? What is your neighbor's home like right now? He said those also completely, utterly destroyed. He went back to his home today to try and see what he could salvage. He told us some of the items in his home were still hot to the touch. I believe we have a mass camera shot right now to give you another view of this street. If we can take that mass camera shot, it just shows you a wider view of what street after street looks like here in the Pacific Palisades. This fire didn't skip areas, it wiped things out completely. We were here last night and we watched building after building ignite, crumble, and burn to the ground, embers being thrown across the street. There's nothing left to burn here. You mentioned up to 5,000 structures damaged or burned from these fires. Officials saying that number could go up as they're working to try and contain these fires. It's absolutely horrendous what is left behind here in their wake.
Lee, I know there's been a bit of a reprieve from the winds today, giving firefighters a bit of an advantage, but the winds will quickly return, and I'm wondering what that feeling of fear is for the folks who are wondering if their neighborhood is going to be next and how they're all coping with that.
Yeah, there is a sense of relief because it's not as gusty, and we can definitely feel a difference. You could tell the difference because there's planes and helicopters swirling overhead, bringing in vitally needed water to try and fight these fires from overhead. But yeah, there is a sense of fear from people. We just had two guys ride by on a bike. We asked them, where's home? They said, no more coffee at the coffee shop. Home is gone. Where are you sleeping tonight? They don't know where they're sleeping tonight because they don't have a home to go back to. They're going to look for a shelter to go to tonight. So yeah, there's a sense of fear because no one knows what neighborhood is next. Another fire sparked between the Los Angeles and Ventura County line. No one knows what's going to be next here. So yes, there's an intense amount of fear in this neighborhood, or in this community rather, because so many fires keep on sparking here. Firefighters are doing as much as they can. President Joe Biden is sending federal resources for federal firefighters and planes here. But until there's some substantial rain and until the winds die down, there's not much that can be done. There needs to be some sort of weather relief to this community as well.
That would be nice. So thank you. It's just devastating. Lee Waldman reporting in the Pacific Palisades region of California. Thank you for that report.
All right, let's get back to our forecast locally for tomorrow. Our first snow in a really long time, Kat.
Almost 3 years since we've seen measurable snow in our area. This isn't going to be a beautiful white wonderland of snow. Unfortunately, it's going to be a mix, but at least, you know, for the snow lovers, you'll get a little bit of a snow fix out there. Here's the issue. Tomorrow evening, the commute should rapidly deteriorate. What falls is going to stick, gets icy really fast, and I just think even though these snow totals that you're going to see are pretty light, the roads are going to be really bad. Many schools dismissing early to be on the cautious side in case this were to speed up at all. Here's the low pressure that we've been telling you about for quite some time now. It's come together, staying far to the south right now, and we've got the cold air thanks to high pressure overhead. This is a storm system that will impact not just North Carolina, but a huge portion of the country as it slides to the east. A winter storm warning in effect for most of our viewing area. The northern half of our viewing area, areas in white, looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain. We're going 1 to 2 inches in Raleigh. Across Wake County, Fuquay-Varina is going to see less than that, probably on that lower end, less than an inch in blue here. But you go up toward Wake Forest, that's going to be your best chance of one of these higher totals. RDU as well, closer to 1 to maybe up to about 2 inches, 2 to 3 in our northernmost counties. Wilson, a little bit less than that. You're in the blue here, which means, generally speaking, less than an inch. You could see up to an inch, but I think ice may end up being the greater concern in our southern counties with some localized power outages possible. Hour by hour tomorrow, we really start to see our chances ramping up during the evening, and you've got a high chance for winter weather as we head into tomorrow night, going up to 100% chance by the late night hours. Hour by hour during the day tomorrow, we're dry. 2, 3 o'clock, you could see some blips here on Futurecast. The air is pretty dry, so this is going to evaporate. That actually cools the surrounding air when you see evaporation happen in the atmosphere. You got to go back to middle school science for that, and latent heat. But that may actually cool us down a little bit more than these numbers show if we get some initial evaporation. Once we get toward 5, 6 o'clock, I think we'll start to see some snow and sleet moving into the area. Here's that band of snow that should put down a nice little dusting, maybe up to, an inch or 2 inches. That best chance in our northern counties where we hold on to the snow the longest. But once we get to midnight, 1 a.m., we really start to see that warm nose moving toward the triangle. Could be all rain in our southern counties. It's going to be an icy mess around the triangle, midnight and beyond. And then once we get to the early morning hours, we start to see the precipitation clearing out of here. So Saturday, 8 a.m., most of us are going to be dry. Roads still messy, but during the afternoon, we warm up into the 40s, and we should start to see some improvement out there. But we see refreezing Saturday night, so some icy roads possible again Sunday morning. The worst travel conditions definitely look like they're going to be tomorrow night and Saturday morning, though. And that's why both tomorrow and Saturday are WRAL weather alert days. Once we get to Monday, we're back up to 50. But overall, this is a pretty chilly 7-day forecast. We got some teens in the forecast for lows next week. And we'll keep you up.
Our one last thing tonight is a letter that Jimmy Carter wrote in 1977 and put on board the Voyager 1 spacecraft that is now 15 billion miles from Earth.
Here is a portion of what it says.